Ohio. We're high on Ohio. These stories inform and inspire through the words of people who make Ohio home. Good news and good ideas, identifying and acknowledging the excellence that is all around us. This is Gene Krebs. I'm joined today by Lisa Hamler-Fugitt, who is the Executive Director of the Ohio Association of Food Banks. This is an ongoing conversation we're having around Ohio on behalf of the Center for Community Solutions as to how do we go ahead and increase our civic capacity? How do we start to understand how other people are dealing with things? And how do we come up with some solutions that are viable for all of Ohio and for a state that actually is not a state, but is actually, let's face it, 5 separate fiefdoms out there? So my question for you is, Lisa, what, from a public policy perspective, keeps you up at night? Now, if you want to talk about the neighbor's dog barking, we can do that, but we want to hear a solution for that. So what keeps you up at night?
Oh, a lot. Certainly, I think from a state and nation, is that we are losing our common goal and a common purpose. I think a lot of that in the state has been driven by term limits.
Okay.
Certainly from a policy solution, and this will have to be a citizen-driven initiative, that we really need to go back and address term limits. Institutional memories are gone. Oftentimes bad policies are just regurgitated. And that, Republicans and Democrats and independents and people of no party at all need to understand that we need to be working together.
When I walked into your office here at your shop, and I want to tell a small tale out of school, your office desk has the perfect slope of paper on it. One more additional slice of paper and it would go sheeting right off. And my exact words to you were, wow, it looks just like the desk of Bob Netzley. Now, for those out there who may not know who Bob is or was, he's recently passed. Bob Netzley was a 40-year veteran of the Ohio House who was the father of all conservatives in Ohio. He was the mentor to now Speaker Bill Batchelder. He was the mentor to now, again, Representative Jim Beakey. He mentored now Congressman Jim Jordan. He defined conservatism in Ohio perfectly. Yet Bob understood there was a role for the government to help those who were incapable. That how government treats those who are incapable of helping themselves says a huge amount about the value system of that government, that society, and that people. And he worked very easily and very well with Democrats, progressives, liberals, socialists, if he needed to go ahead and achieve these things. But what was remarkable about Bob, and how have we lost all of that?
Again, and I think as your description of him, I believe that he was the king and will be forever known as the king of the cavemen.
Yes.
And I will tell you that you knew exactly where he stood.
Yes.
But he was always open to hear others' points of view. And one of my fondest memories of Representative Netzley was during the Welfare Reform Oversight Committee in 2000. While he may have been on his first or second hip or knee replacement, he is the chair, and Barbara Boyd as the minority leader and
Democrat.
the co-chair, Democrat from Cleveland, convened 20 different hearings where we went out into the communities and met with recipients of benefits, of leaders of local government, the Jobs and Family Services, and spent time investigating as we devolved welfare to the county levels. We were in Meigs County, and a group of young women had come in, and he noted that their teeth. They're in their 20s. Their teeth are completely rotted out.
Yeah.
No dentist available.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, we need to get these young women dental care. There isn't an employer who would hire them the way they are. And this is going to ruin their quality of life. That and also the understanding, while we are having this debate about reproductive rights, some of the greatest conversations I had with him were about the need to ensure that families had access to family planning. And when he was cleaning and closing up his office, he asked me to come over and gave me one of the original bills that he had drafted as it related to access to birth control.
You know, and I do really want to emphasize that, you know, for a whole lot of folks on the political right, I really encourage them to take a look at Bob Netzley.
Absolutely.
Who could have a conversation with an intelligent, thoughtful conversation with people with whom he shared very little in common with politically, but yet he had this huge patriotism about him that was overwhelming, and I miss him. I will freely confess he was also one of my mentors when I was in the Ohio House, and I used to tease him that he was my state representative before I was old enough to vote. And then he'd look at me sharply with those eyes, and I'd go, okay, maybe I shouldn't bring that up. So, but thank you again. That is a wonderful vignette that I think the people need to be reminded of.
And again, I'm sure there are others that have served as you have. There are others that are currently serving that will never have the opportunity to mature to that level. And while we have a few who have been successful with term limits of moving between the chambers, that when you lose that institutional history, as you said, that patriotism, the understanding of how government works, we are at risk of truly losing our democracy.